Can I just ask Rob while we're in a little break? Do we not record apologies then in these meetings? Or?
Apologies are given to the Democratic Services officers in Neath for Talbot. Tom, do you want to go through those given apologies for this meeting?
Yeah, I'm sorry, councillors. So the apologies I've received are for councillors Jan Curtis, Victoria Holland, Joshua Bynan, Brian Hall, and Councillor Russell Sparks.
Okay.
And we now correct again.
Thank you very much. Is that okay, Giles? Anything?
No, it's just something I noticed. It's not okay. An agenda item either, is it? So. No,
it's not. No, maybe we will include it for the future meetings. Okay, if we move on to agenda item 4, the Swansea Bay City Deal quarterly portfolio monitoring pages. This is pages 7 to 48 in your scrutiny papers. We have John Burns that's going to provide some more detail. So, John, if I pass over to you.
Thank you, Chair. So this is the quarterly monitoring highlights, what you're used to having, but this one's for January to March 2023. So included in the pack, with a reference to the pages that the Chair just said, you've got a dashboard, the actual quarterly monitoring reports for each of the projects and programmes, portfolio benefits and the construction impact assessment. The only thing, Chair, that you don't have at this meeting is the Q4 financial report. That is to go through programme board in July and then on to joint committee, which will then be considered for joint scrutiny committee at a future date. So that will include the end of year financials and Q1 financials. Okay, so if I proceed, and anybody can ask me questions en route or at the end, that's absolutely fine. So in terms of the RAG status, this is in the dashboard, this is the red, amber, green status. The only thing that's worth highlighting are 2 red status, one relating to HAPS around staffing, and the other one around Swansea Waterfront for finance. I've got updates on those 2 things a little bit later, but basically they're in hand or have been resolved. So you probably find in the next quarterly monitoring in Q1, those statuses should have been reduced. But I'll go through the detail in a second. In terms of issues, one new red issue has been highlighted since we reported last, and that was around the City Deal Finance Manager. But subsequently, since then, we now have a gentleman in post. He started yesterday, so he hopefully will, you'll see him in due course with Chris Moore as Section 151 officer. So again, that issue has been resolved. In terms of portfolio red risks, we have 7. So private sector contributions, construction costs, the TAN 15 flood risk maps, in-year spend, delivery slippage, delivery of outputs and outcomes aligned to what the business case has said, and the pressure on the construction industry to meet the demand of not only City Deal, but the wider public sector developments underway. Those are the 7 red risks. They're all being mitigated. They're all red, but they're being mitigated with explanations as to what we're doing on each of those. And some of them you'll find that they're in the reporting feedback that I'll provide today, like construction costs and also stuff around slippage and outputs and outcomes. The third part then, just to highlight, is the Portfolio Gateway Assurance Review. Only to say that the recommendations from last year are complete, but the important bit of information is that we are currently planning for the next review, which is scheduled for the 18th to 20th July this year. And that will meet with probably it's around about 20 regional stakeholders who are all involved in the process of delivery of the City Deal. So that will be underway within the next couple of weeks. We'll have another series of recommendations again, which will come through governance. So those are the highlights for the dashboard, Chair. Are you happy for me to go straight on to the quarterly monitoring report, or is there any questions on those items?
You just pause for some questions for a second, yeah, sure. Please, Jonathan. Chris Hawley, Councillor Chris Hawley.
Thank you very much, Chair. Can I go back to the RAG reports?
Yeah.
And the red on the page 2 of the initial report. There are some quite alarming issues there. The mitigating circumstances
I'm really sorry to interrupt, Councillor. I'm afraid, Councillor,